So how do we help those of us who are listening? What are some practical things we can do to really start going that way that you all think young people, and not just young people, all people need to be doing right now?
I think one of the things that resonates for me is the same thing I did with my children. I taught them that that the world that they were going into, they would have to have ownership. That they would have to be entrepreneurs. And each one of them have had their feet wet with entrepreneurship from very, very young. And I think learning that it's okay to fail, that failure is little successes. This stuff that you hear people saying are not just sound bites. These are real things, and that you shouldn't be afraid to try. That these little ideas that are popping inside of your head and saying, I should do this, I should do that, are really, I love to tell people that they are invitations from God for you to join in collaboration with him on something that he thought of, that they're not really your ideas anyway. He's asking you to steward over them. And if you would look at them and know that they're not your ideas anyway, you would handle them differently. If Anthony calls me and says, Mignon, go down to the Dave Ramsey offices. The door is going to be locked. I'm going to give you a key. Here's the code. If I go inside and I have the key and the code and somebody says, what are you doing here? And I present the key and the code, that I deserve to be there. And I think that's the same thing. God has given us a key and a code that says you're supposed to be here. And if we could walk in that, we would know that it wasn't my idea to walk into the Dave Ramsey offices. It was Anthony's idea.
That's good teaching.
And I think that God is that way. He has given us a key and a code and says, walk in this direction. This is what I have for you. I didn't know how to bake. When I started this, I was going to school to become a surgeon. That was my idea. But every stupid thing that I was doing was leading me to this place where I'd be prepared to do that. So I would say for people, mostly stop being arrogant to believe that you came up with it anyway, because it wasn't yours. You were just asked to steward over it. So that's one of the big things for me.
What you think, bro? What you think? Well, y'all good.
You know, I'll just touch on this. A lot of what you just said. I know that having mentors, right, having African-American mentors in successful positions, it helped me a lot, right? When I wanted to go in the retail business, you know, I called the president of Glory Greens. You know, I was like, who's a bit, I didn't know any other successful people in the retail, so I'm going to call Glory. I know everybody knows Glory Greens. So I called up there. I said, can I speak to the president? Like, the president's not here, but the vice president's here. And she came on the phone. And she became a mentor to me for like 2 years. And we formed a relationship. At one time, she was going to be the director of my company. But you have to not be afraid to reach out to successful people who, if you want to be into the selling Band-Aid business, find out who that person is. Call them. Talk to them. Find out how they did it. You know, you can't be afraid. And same thing, just having that vision that, hey, I want to be in that person's position. How do I get in your position? Talk to them.
And you'll find that successful people are generous.
Correct.
They really, come on now.
Correct.
You know,
it's the broke people who are not generous.
Who are stingy.
Absolutely.
And I think that's why you don't have anything, right? Like, when you keep your hand open, it leaves room to receive from God. Yeah, you're going to lose some stuff, but you also receive from God. And successful people are willing to keep their hand open. They want to pull people up. They want, like, when I was going to school at Lipscomb, I was working on my master's, and one of the things they taught us was about networking. Like, you're not going to get your job positions because of applications that you apply. You're going to get it because of somebody who knows somebody.
Come on.
Absolutely.
And I think that's another key, that the kingdom of heaven is colorful.
Come on.
There's all kinds of people there.
Come on.
And if you want to be a citizen, you're going to have to be willing to receive all kinds of people.
Absolutely.
And I think, like, having your circle be diverse and look like the kingdom of heaven is one way to success, too. If you don't have a white friend, you need to get one.
Absolutely.
And if you don't have any black friends, you need to get some.
You need to get some.
Absolutely. You got to pull from everybody. You got to pull from everybody's strengths.
Like, you know, and another thing that I would say has really helped me is I took a Chick-fil-A approach. I don't want to be your biggest customer, but I want to be your favorite one.
There you go.
And I do that in everything. I don't want to be I don't have to be your biggest guest. I want to be your favorite one. You know,
you're my biggest and favorite. Let's just say that,
And I think if we take that approach when we walk into rooms, that I want to do the things that make you excited that I walked into the room. And not just that I'm taking something from you, but I'm also giving something back, right? Yes. Like you have to be willing to invest also in that same thing, because I'm sure that Glory Greens gave you something, but you probably also gave them something as well.
Absolutely. That was definitely a great experience. I never stopped. It's one thing that my parents always taught me, especially my mother. She was a Black Panther. Mm-hmm. And you deserve to be here. You deserve a seat at the table. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The blood of your ancestors are all over this land. Mm-hmm. This is your stolen land. Your divine right is to be who you want to be. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the fear is only in yourself. Mm-hmm. Don't let the outside noise and things and imagery that is negative, get into your head to the point where you feel like you're less than king. Yeah. And that always stuck with me, and I've always walked that way. Yeah. And young brothers that work for me, I teach them the same thing. Like, what are you doing here? What do you want from me? Yeah. I need you to be my GM in 2 years. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So get it right. Yeah. Don't come to work late. Ooh. Pull your pants up. Ooh. Yeah. You know what? You don't walk in this building thinking I'm going to be you in the back dancing because you're cooking it for me. No, you're going to get up here and learn. I'm going to teach you because that's the only people I want. I want kings. I want young doers, young entrepreneurs. That's the only way this business is going to rise. So
I love that you said that your ancestors' blood, the thing that I'm living for is to make my name great.
Come on.
And it's just not even my name. It's the names of those who will be always nameless that came before me, who never had that opportunity for anyone to ever say their name. Mm-hmm. But because you'll say my name, you say their name. Come on. And so that's what I'm living for. We got a chance as sisters to travel back when we buried our grandmother last year. The one who taught me all of this stuff, who gave that investment into me. We went to her funeral. We traveled back to Terrio, Louisiana, which is our maiden name. Mm-hmm. And we followed the GPS into Terrio. We end up in the middle of a plantation at a stop sign where they're working a sugarcane field. Mm. And you just see nothing but miles of sugarcane. And from what I read, Terrio was one of the largest plantations in Louisiana. And so standing there with my sisters and knowing that we came here for legacy building, that what we're doing here is to make our name great and to forge a path for all the people who are coming behind us now. It was just amazing that we were standing in the middle of a sugar cane field, and we're in the business of sugar. And that we are doing great and amazing things, that we've had all these accolades and all these votes and things like that. And to the point where, it's like I walk into rooms like cake ladies here, and I know that would make my grandmothers proud. And so now I'm thinking of expanding my brand to really pay homage to them in a very specific kind of way.
When I hear you two, this is what I hear, and correct me if I'm wrong. If you're going to be successful, number one, acknowledge the thoughts, the God-given thoughts that he's given you, and be a good steward of those thoughts. When you get those thoughts, go get wisdom on how to bring those thoughts into fruition, into making something. And don't be scared to go out there and to make it happen.